there's a lot of movies.
Sorry, that disrupts every once in a while.
Chris, I know. I'm like, what the
already.
My bad.
I like that with the original movies, because a lot of movies, okay, it's a guy, the love movies. Guy falls in love with girl doesn't fall in love with guy. It's like I already don't even need to watch it. I know how it's going to end. Or you have another movie. It's like, all right, this guy, daughter gets kidnapped, and he's going to basically raise all hell, and he's fucking indestructible and gets shot 15 times, and he's not going to die because he's going to. Like, we all know those movies.
Yeah, Chris and I talked about that, like predictability around movies. Like, we were talking about this last week because we reviewed the Tatuaje Karloff, and Boris Karloff, the guy who played the original Frankenstein. That movie came out forever ago. And then we started like reminiscing and talking about like the nostalgia of like very old school movies. And Chris and I have been watching. I mean, we've watched movies dated all the way back to the 40s, like and love them.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking about the sense of originality back then because no one else was making movies. Everything was original. And it's like now, like as you said, Justin, like you can depict essentially like, okay, I can see the theme of a movie. It's not even you have to see the trailer. You can understand the theme and the title of the movie, and you could peg it exactly for what it's going to be. I know exactly how the movie is going to flow, and I know the outcome. And this is what like romance movies. They're literally all the same. And
have you guys noticed this, that trailers nowadays tell you way too much information about the movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, they tell you.
I've been watching trailers on Netflix, and the trailer's like 3.5 minutes. Like, I don't even need to watch the movie.
Yeah,
I know exactly what's going to happen.
It'll literally show you every good part. That's the problem.
Yes.
It's like you're teasing me with the things that I want to see most, and then when I see them, it's very anticlimactic, and I just go, I'm out now.
So my girlfriend and I, whenever we watch a movie, we check the trailer. We give it 30 seconds. I go, if I'm hooked by 30, I'm not watching the rest of the trailer. I'm it. Let's watch it. Because if you haven't hooked me within the first 30 seconds, you're not going to hook me in the next 2.5 minutes. Okay.
Total. Could not agree more. I don't know why they do that. Netflix is really weird how they do the extended trailer thing. Like it literally, it's like to the point where you're like looking at your watch, like, Jesus, like, are we still fucking watching this? Like, is this trailer?
And the movie will be like an hour and 25 minutes. I'm like, you just showed me 10% of the damn movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Netflix is notorious for that. And I think part of it too is like, if you think about the advertising around movies that open up in theaters that aren't like Amazon originals, Netflix, because Netflix only previews Netflix. Like, I mean, they'll preview, what I mean is they don't preview new movies. They'll only preview their new movies, right? Like Netflix original. Well, they can preview it as long as they want because it's on their platform. But if you're an advertising company, like let's say it's a new movie that comes out, you're paying for that advertising space on broadcast cable. So you have to keep it to either 30 seconds, 60 seconds, a minute and a half. Where Netflix is like, fuck it, we own it. So we'll just let that shit go as long as we want.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Hey, Eric, by the way. Dude, I love your guys' shirts.
Yeah.
Chris and I have been threatening to literally make shirts for the longest time, and we just haven't done it. Just haven't done it. We'll get there though eventually. Which makes me so. I wanted to talk about this first because I feel like I have so much I want to talk to you guys about. But I want to first start with, because you've been teasing it, and well, one, congratulations, you just surpassed episode 100 like 2 weeks ago, right? You're on 101 now, which is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you know well, at one time, the statistic was any podcast that forms will likely never make it past episode 13. That was the average. By the way, that average was 4 years ago. So now it's probably even lower than that because everybody's got a podcast. Like people who literally have no relevance in anything have a podcast.
We were actually referring to you the other day because we talk about that a lot. We talk about 100 episode, and I said, I think it was Chris and Corey when we had him on last year. They were telling us the statistic, and we couldn't debate if it was 13 or I think 11. We were trying to say.
Yeah, close enough. It's probably even lower than that now, I would assume.
Yeah,
I would say just because there's so many that get started, there's so many that erode and go away. Probably after the average is probably 5 now. I would say 5 episodes, and people don't make it past that. So it's something to say, like, when you make it to episode 100, it's such a freaking huge milestone. Like it's massive because if you think about it, that's 2 years worth of work every single week, which is insane to think about. Like Chris and I talked about that with 200. Crazy.
What do you think the percentage is of all podcasts that make it to 100 episodes?
Oh my God. It's gotta be such a small amount. It has to be a very, very minuscule amount in terms of percentage. Cause I heard there's like over 7 million podcasts in all the directories now, which is crazy. It's crazy to think about. Like, and that was the statistic, I think, at the end of 2020. So we're, halfway through 2021. So it's arguably more than that. If you think about 7 million, I would say directory that has over 100 episodes is got to be probably less than 1%, maybe around 1%.
Really?
Yeah, it's got to be.
I was going to say top 2%. Like you always talk about, the 2%ers. Don't be like 98% of the rest of it's got to be 2%.
It may be
100 episodes is 2 years long, like you said.
It may be. And here's the thing too, is like, I think it's always funny when I hear people are like, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, I've had people call me and I've had people who know me are like, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, okay, about what? Like, not really sure. I'm like, well, hey, objective number one, figure out what the fuck you're going to talk about. That's one.
Yes.
Number one is you got to have a fucking plan. So let's start there. But it's just, I think people want an outlet to talk to a broader audience without any sort of reciprocation. Cause I think it's what I want to say. It's like, I think it's got like personal, like mental benefits for people. Like it's that created outlet. There's times that I think about like, there's shit I just want to say that I'm never going to say to someone's face, but I feel comfortable saying it on the podcast, which is really weird because the accessibility of this far more extends out than if I'm having a one-on-one conversation.
I will admit,
a good outlet for those things. And I think sometimes when people say, I want to start a podcast, that's what they mean when they want to start it. It's not that like, I haven't had anyone come to me and said, I have this very specific thing I want to talk about, and here's how I think it's relevant, and here's how I think the podcast medium can help broadcast this message that I have or this unique perspective on something. It's just people are like, it'd be really cool just to like sit down and talk. I'm like, don't do that. Don't fucking do that. Joe Rogan already does that. He owns the space. He's working he's 100 millionaire. Just don't do it because you're never going to create relevance there ever.
Or like if you want to do it, then if you just want to, you're not even wanting to do it. Like you said, people don't really want to. The people that come and say they just want to talk about anything don't necessarily want a podcast. They just want to get their words out. Right. So in that space, don't start a podcast. Just do a voice journal. Get yourself a tape recorder and record yourself every day.
I'm so glad you said that because I was literally going to say, just fucking have a journal. That's all you need. Like, you just have a fucking journal. Like,
and then people would come back and say, well, I can't write. I said, okay, voice journal. Just
I don't have hands.
I can't speak. Well, God damn it!
How to work a voice recorder? You literally go on your phone and say, "Hey Siri, voice recorder." Blah 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 blah.
There you go.
Done.
Yeah. I totally agree. But I also think I think a lot of people think like it's one of those. The attitude is if you build it, they will come. Which I think at one point podcasts were that like closer to its inception, like 12, 13, 14 years ago. It's like if you just happen to get in podcasting, then like people are going to recognize you just because of numbers alone. There's so few podcasts that if someone was really intimately interested in this new medium, they would find you. It's not that way anymore. Like everybody gets buried in a directory. So there's things that you have to do. There's things that you have to do to kind of separate yourself, either through the topics, either through your marketing reach, social media reach. Like you have to create some sort of relevance. If you're just the person that's coming in and you're saying, I just want to have a podcast about nothing, well, that's fine. But what's your objective? If you have no objective and you say like, hey, I just want to broadcast things out there and who comes, great. But if your objective is to expand an audience and to have this collective community and this ongoing conversation, you're probably going to fail.
Here's the thing.
Probably not going to work out in your favor.
There's got to be some super home runs out there, like maybe like a painting podcast or like a knitting podcast where it's like, today we're going to show you how to do a cross weave. We're going to first start by
that sounds like an ASMR podcast.
Dude, that does sound like ASMR. That would be creepy.
Speaking of that, there's a guy on YouTube, because Eric and I, obviously with the YouTube, we do a lot of research on YouTube. And we came across a guy, doesn't even have a cigar channel. This is not a cigar YouTube channel. This has nothing to do with cigars, not even a bourbon, nothing. But he's got an ASMR channel, and he smokes cigar ASMR.
Oh, no.
And it blew up. It's got
almost 1 million views.
Almost a million views. And it's like, literally just him whispering.
Wow, this cigar tastes really great.
No, you're not. You are fucking kidding me.
Swear to God.
I go, and listen, all right. God bless him. Fantastic. You're doing something. It did well on your channel. Awesome. But let's be honest. He probably doesn't smoke cigars. Probably doesn't know what the heck he's doing, but is doing an ASMR and it did well. And I go, what the fuck?
Dude.
We put out hundreds of videos about cigars. This guy puts his first one out and it's 1 million views.
he looks like a 14-year-old boy, like a little boy.
Oh,
it's
no.
so frustrating.
I don't know how that works. I really
Dude, well, first of all, YouTube is frustrating in and of itself. Still don't understand. So is anything social media. Like Instagram is arguably like I just kind of gave up. I'm like, I'm just gonna post shit that I like to post and whatever I think's relevant for like the podcast, and then everything else can fuck off. Like I don't care about. And YouTube is even more of this perplexing thing in terms of like algorithm and like what stuff catches and what doesn't. Because like there was like a moment there where it was like we were like climbing as you would expect to climb as you release videos on YouTube. Like audience continues to grow. There's an extended reach. You start to figure out what videos click and which ones don't, which ones get more reception. And you start to figure those things out from an analytical perspective. And then you kind of move and morph your channel to kind of follow where that growth trend is. And then all the fucking sudden, YouTube's like, fuck you guys. And then it's just like everything just eroded away. And I was like, dude, all right, whatever.
We started experimenting with those YouTube shorts, the Instagram reels for YouTube. So Justin put up a video and he's like, dude, I got like 600 views in like one day. And we're like, yo, this is the ticket. This is what we're doing. So the next day I put up a short. I'm like, dude, we had 12 views in 12 hours. Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy to me how YouTube is just like I know it's obviously it's data driven and it's much smarter from a computer perspective than any one of us or in all four of us together, all four of us combined. Right. But then there's part of me that imagines that there's just some little fucking dork behind his computer and he sees your guys' video and goes, I'm not going to promote that. He's just like, he's some little asshole. He was like anti-smoking and was like, fuck that. I'm not promoting that, and clicks a button and it's just like, nope, you're not pushing it at all.
See, well, that actually brings up a good point about having your niche be in the tobacco industry, because it kind of adds a degree of difficulty because you cannot promote on any social media.
Yeah.
They will deny you even if you don't have, like, we don't have Cigar in our name. It's Burndown Podcast. You guys don't have Cigar in your name. It's Hot Ticket Weekly, right? There's none of that in the name. You still can't promote it because they'll do research. They'll find out your cigar show and boom. So it gives it an extra degree of difficulty. There's ways around it, obviously, but
yeah. So when
you have a podcast, you can do Facebook and just target immediately to those people and reach a massive amount, but you can't do that when you have a cigar podcast.
I wonder, do you think so like social media, obviously that's a very known thing, right? They have their terms and conditions as far as restrictions go, but YouTube isn't necessarily outward, but I feel like even in a hidden agenda, they're like, if it's tobacco related, we're not going to push it hard. And I'm not saying there's not big tobacco pages, but I think a lot of those pages have existed for 10 plus years and they have that built-in audience, right? So I don't know if it's necessarily being pushed and that's where you see the numbers, or if you see the numbers just as a result of how many people have subscribed and clicked the notification button on their videos. Like, is it just representation within the collective community, or are they still continuing to push it? I suspect YouTube has something in the algorithm built in similar to social media where it's like, oh, cigar related. We go and look for these terms. We look for these tags. And it's like, yeah, we're going to stifle that growth a bit because it is, I mean, in the eyes of anybody who is progressive, taboo to smoke cigars. So I have a feeling, even though they're not as outward, it's just, I suspect that that's the case.
Although I do have a feeling it may not be as tight of a filter as, say, Instagram and Facebook. It's probably a little bit more lenient. And I do feel that it probably, with the rate of the way that, marijuana is going, the way that they're legalizing drugs here and there, I feel like in the next couple of years, you'll kind of find out where it's kind of a free for all. Anything's going to go.
Yeah.
Because listen, if you can have a whiskey page, why can't you? And you can have a marijuana page. Why can't you have a cigar page?
Dude, thank you.
I feel like there's,
it's the classic argument if you talk about which one is worse for you. So first of all, Eric, what are you drinking, by the way? I'm out of curiosity.
Oh, thanks for asking.
Well, you cheersed it right up to the fucking camera. I couldn't miss it.
Well, you guys were talking. I wanted to say cheers to the hot Burndown.
I'm drinking coffee, so.
I just want to say cheers.
Moscow Mule.
Oh, that's nice.
There we go.
Dude, usually I'm drinking bourbon, but I was I just like this week exhausted the shit out of me. I just did some Death Wish coffee and I'm like, I'm going to get hard and sweaty all at the same time. So
I actually opened up a beer before. I was going to have a beer and then I was like, you know what? This week has been long. I needed something a little stronger. So
what is that? Scotch? What is it? Is it
Camus, the cognac.
Oh shit, you're drinking cognac. Oh my God, look at you.
Yeah, so I got this Tatuaje. What is this? Esca sauce. I can't even see what it says.
It's a hat, so it's good no matter what.
Yeah, it's a Nicaraguan, so it's strong. So I said, you know what? A little strong, a little sweet. Let's do it.
I like that. Justin, you're smoking an LFD, it looked like, if my head
Placencia, I think. That was
it's funny because it's funny that you say that because I had 2 cigars in here, and the one I didn't take out was an LFD.
Oh damn!
But
that's a chisel.
It was LFD double Lajero chisel, but I wound up going with the Placencia.
Okay, that's a Placencia original then. Okay, got
the original. There you go. You can see a little better there. And then I'm drinking some Eagle Rare with it.
Nice. Is that so? I totally have a segue, but a lot of this is obviously going to be tangents. Blame it on the CTE. But so it's like Eagle Rare and like some of those, like I would say in Ohio, there's some hard to find bourbons. Like I'm part of an Ohio like bourbon hunters page because to get Eagle Rare in Ohio is rare.
Eagle Rare is good, man.
And I love it.
It's not that hard to get here.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like I would say like what would be considered rare. So like let me break it down for you. So like anything Weller, so like Weller Antique, even like Weller Special Reserve, the green bottle, sometimes hard to find here, a little bit more accessible than other things. Blanton's is difficult. Eagle Rare is difficult. E.H. Taylor is difficult. There's like all these things. McKenna's difficult, but I feel like where you guys are at, it's pretty accessible. Like if I were to just like drive to the Jersey area,
I'll just Venmo you money.
Like just give me
honestly, if you were looking for stuff, then by all means reach out to us because I can tell you, we could probably get what I've seen in the store, and we have a number of stores that have.
Block in my small little town. I think there's Wellers, there's Eagles, there's Eagles Rare.
Exactly.
I'm not sure. I don't think they have Blanton's, but they have like the high end Hibiki. They have some.
Yeah, we can get all that stuff.
Oh no shit!
We can get Eagle Rare, Angel's Envy, Wellers, Blanton's, all that. What was another one?
They have what's it called? What's a really like exclusive? Donna.
Pappy Van Winkle is
you got to
you can find that here and there. There's a place here that has a bottle. I think they have because Pappy's got what, a 12, a 15, 20, something like that.
Yep. And then they
can get like a 12 and a 15 and they charge you out the ass for it, but you can get it.
Of course. Yeah, I know how you have to enter a lottery to get all those. So they do lotteries once every quarter of the year, and I've entered it so many times, never won.
You know what I found out too? Well, it's tobacco related, but because we have a website and we do a giveaway every single month. And I was talking to this guy from Utah, and he says, he's a part of our membership just to do show support. But he's like, you guys can never send me any cigars because Utah and I think South Dakota are the only states in the U.S. that don't allow tobacco to be entered into their state lines.
What?
Fucking serious? Those goddamn Mormons. They fucking ruin everything.
Paulians? God, what the?
Jesus Christ.
I know Utah and one of the, I don't know if it's North or South Dakota, but he said Utah.
And you want to hear something crazy too that kind of goes on top of that? Is we had Joshua Habersky on the podcast, who is head of government relations for the PCA, Premium Cigar Association. Mm-hmm. So he was a guy that does all the lobbying when people try to raise the taxes, they try to change the laws. He's the guy that kind of goes in and
beats some ass.
And basically makes people aware of certain things because he felt like a lot of times the people that are making the laws don't even know anything about cigars. So he tries to educate them. But anyway, he was saying that premium cigar sales, like not cigars from 7-Eleven or the gas station.
Like no swishers, none of that.
Yeah, none of those, none of the White Owls, none of premium cigars that you would find in a cigar shop only account for 0.5% of all tobacco sales in the United States.
That doesn't surprise me because cigarettes is so goddamn
0.5%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm like, so why the fuck are they coming after our industry to say we got to raise the taxes to 75%? You can't ship it in Utah. You can't go here.
Because it's like if
like,
it looks
really?
if it looks like this one thing, then it's certainly got to be like this one thing. I think that's the thing. It's just that association.
Well, you know what?
Because vaping
I can
is the
find
same
plenty
way.
of cigars that look like a joint. So why can't I? Letting weed go?
Isn't that kind of crazy though when you think about like carcinogenic properties like marijuana, carcinogen, cigarettes? That's it's mind blowing how there's this taboo effect on premium tobacco, like literally shit that is fucking grown in the ground, cultivated in the earth, removed from the earth, still 100% earth, and constructed as earth, and then still everyone's like, fucking terrible for you. You're crazy.
What's even more so is the cigars aren't even like the two things that you just talked about, cigarettes and marijuana. Those are more what's the word? The consumer age of those, the average age is much younger than cigars. People that are buying cigars are not 15 years old. The people that are smoking weed the people that smoke weed and are chain smoking cigarettes underneath the bleachers are in high school. Right. They're not chain smoking cigars. So
when have you ever seen a high school kid?
These are adults. Like, why are you coming after us?
So
I think of it like this, like Corey said, for the whole YouTube thing. Like there's some little nerd behind the YouTube saying,
oh yeah.
Nah, there's some
you guys.
Dick.
Yeah, he's got a hard on for fucking premium tobacco.
Like tobacco, cigarettes. Yeah, we can make a lot of money.
Like, oh, that's an old guy's thing. And
yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb here.
He probably had a girl, and the girl left him for a dude that smoked cigars. So he's like, "Fuck the cigar smokers."
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. Listen, there's a lot of talk about cigars are bad for you, bad as cigarettes, whatever. But I want to go on a limb and say that it's so healthy, it needs the organic label on it. Like, I want to see
for real.
cigars next to the chives and the green onions and the cucumbers at your local Kroger's or grocery store. They're that healthy for you. I'm just going to go out there and say it.
Think about it, because cigars have to be organic. They have to. I mean, it's a plant. They can't put any chemicals or pesticides or anything in the plant because you can't smoke it. You'll die from it. So it's organic. And the only thing extra, this is literally plant, a tobacco leaf, and vegetable glue.
Yeah. The vegetable glue is legitimately still 100% fucking organic. It's like, goddamn, guys, like, how natural can these things possibly get before someone just goes like, listen, I think we have this wrong. I think we should probably step off the gas a little bit, hit the brakes on premium tobacco. But you're right. I think a lot of it is, and as I'm sure the guest you had on from PCA has already articulated, is a lot of it is just, it's these like preconceived ideas around what these things are. And it's just folks who are responsible for writing the legislation don't understand the science behind it and don't have a research background.
Like
that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, like most laws.
Most everything that's written. I mean, dude, seriously, it's like, I'm not going to talk shit about our government on this podcast, but check out my background. We'll
skip over that.
That's all I'm
Next topic.
I should have just like made a GIF that just said GOV on that garbage can. Anyway, hey, I want to go back because you mentioned earlier about your website, because you guys are doing the membership to the website. So just like right now, what is it all inclusive of? I've seen a lot of things on Instagram. So you've got the giveaways is what, $5 a month? Like what access do people have to certain things that you guys are providing?
Yeah. So it comes with, we do monthly giveaways. So there's two options for the giveaway. So whatever the giveaway prize is, you can win that. Or there's an alternative. You can have like a 30-minute Zoom session like we're having now and hang out with us and have a cigar. As well as the giveaways, we partnered up with Nova Cigar, Revive Vinyl, cigarandpipes.com and Kansas Clean Distillery, and you get discount codes to all those.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw you have those links. That's cool.
So it's a cigar company, a cigar website, a cigar accessory website. So Revive Vinyl, they make cigar ashtrays out of vinyl records for any vinyl record you want.
That's dope.
That's sweet.
Well, I have one. I'll show it to you guys.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Sports teams, you can do your own logo. You can do Frank Sinatra. You can do Biggie, whoever you want. And then Kansas Clean Distillery. That was one of the.
Oh, holy shit!
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there you go,
dude. That's
cool.
So this was our old logo that he had made, but he basically takes it. The newer one it's a little bit wider of a dish, but what's cool is that like this one right here, right? This one's only 4 fingers. You can only put 4 cigars,
right?
But this one literally has.
Yeah, like
you could put one anywhere, so you can have 50,
like 20 fucking people. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that looks sweet. That looks really
cool.
good.
Yeah, so there's all different kinds of. You can either get, I think, 10% off of his own products, and if you buy a Burndown Revive Vinyl, it's like 20% off. So Nova Cigar, you guys know Nova Cigars.
Yep. I just actually reviewed one of their cigars, just haven't posted it yet.
Yeah, they're great cigars. And then we work with the cigar retailer in upstate New York, cigarandpipes.com, and we have a sampler pack with them, but he gave us a discount code for his website. Nice. And then Kansas Clean Distillery. So they're a whiskey company, but their whiskey is crystal clear. It's not brown, and it's freaking delicious. It was one of the first whiskeys we ever drank on the podcast, and I brought it to Justin. He was like,
Okay. So what gives whiskey most of its colors? The charred oak barrels. So how is it clear? That's what I'm.
It's not put in those barrels. It's steel barrels.
So it's in steel. That's what I was gonna say. It's got to be in something that's completely clean and like sanitized, right? It can't absorb the color from a barrel. That's crazy.
And it's wild because it's
delicious.
I was shocked. I was like, all right, this is going to be, it's clear whiskey. Like, what is this? Vodka? He goes, no, it's whiskey. It's okay, whatever. Let's try it. All right.
Shit.
I mean, taste it. I go, wow, this is pretty good. It's got a little bit of it different. It doesn't have all of the, it's not real smoky like you would if you have with the charred oak barrels, but it's got a nice flavor to it. I go, this is nice.
And I came across it in Costco. They were doing like one of those, like you have the Costco has like the liquor store.
Yeah.
And I went in with my future mother-in-law, and she was like, "Oh, Eric, look, whiskey, you should try it." And I'm like, this is clear. So he gave me like the whole spiel, and I was like, this is good. So I bought a bottle, and I told him like, I have a cigar Instagram, and he's like, oh, let's connect, blah 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 blah. And then we had it on the podcast, and we wanted like another alternative for the website, so we just reached out to him, and they were like instantly like, yeah, we're in.
Yeah, so, that's awesome. What's the name of the company again? I want to look them up real quick.
Kansas Clean Distillery.
I like how that's awesome. Clean Distillery. That's awesome. Yeah, I figured, nothing was obviously done in oak barrels. So that makes sense. I'm just more curious about the mash bill on it. I want to see how much percentage of it is like corn versus rye versus like barley. And
yeah, I just know it tastes good. I don't have to.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So trippy. The bottle is pretty good, though. That's awesome.
And what does it say? It says cool. It says whiskey, right? Is it bourbon or is it just straight whiskey?
It's whiskey, yeah. Because bourbon has to be in charred oak barrels. That's part of like the bourbon process. And then there's a 3-year minimum period that it has to sit in the charred oak barrels. So the fact that it is like a whiskey is like you could do any process that you want to make whiskey. I think there's not a whole lot in terms of, except like the ingredients wise, like so corn, rye, barley, wheat.
There has to be a certain percentage. Like it has to be more of one thing than the other.
Whiskey is not as clearly defined. So, but if it's like a rye whiskey, then it has to be at least 51% rye. But if it's just like a wheated whiskey, it can be whatever mash bill. Like you could have so much percentage of corn versus the. I was curious to see what the mash bill was on it because I'm curious about the color overall. I would assume it's probably more corn. I'm looking for it now. I can't find it.
No, I mean like what actually is the mash bill? I don't know what that is.
A mash bill is essentially like the percentage of ingredients used in the actual distillation process. So you have things that are called like high rise. You have things that are like high wheat. Like I like wheated bourbons, which means that a higher percentage of the ingredients used is wheat based as opposed to like corn based. Like corn gives you like sweeter notes. Wheat gets you more of like a spice. And I don't want to say like spice, pepper spice. obviously, like you could interrelate this into cigars pretty easily. These we talk about like baking spice that you get in cigars. You get the same thing in like whiskeys and bourbons, which is why the two goes. I mean, with cigars, they go hand so closely. So that's what a mash bill is. It's essentially the recipe for a cigar or for a bourbon or a whiskey. So
let me just ask you guys this: it's raining right now in my backyard. Can you guys hear the rain at all, or no?
No, you're good.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, good.
I mean,
you're
not going to get wet, are you?
I have a nice awning over here, so I'm pretty much
nice
locked in. But just want to make sure
you should be sitting right here.
I should be.
I know. It was weird because I you already told me that you weren't going to be there. You guys are going to be separate, and then still I was waiting to see your face, and it was just Justin on the camera, and I was like, "Hey, where's the other guy? where did he go?"
He didn't even say where's Eric. He goes, "Where's the other guy?"
And I knew it was Eric. I don't know what the mash bill is. I'm done looking, but I'm really interested in this whiskey. You got me like super interested. Tell me this. Tell me about your guys' new cigar. You got a new cigar coming out. So what can you say and not say? So I don't know what has already been said, but I know you did an episode about it. But I'm curious is like, can you tell us anything that isn't already known?
Yeah. So what we can say is, so we picked the cigar, we picked the blend, we picked the size, we picked the name. We're having the label done right now. We just paid our label guy. They're coming up with the labels. And then once that's done, then we'll work with him for the box design. But if everything goes to plan, come August, we will have the release of the cigar.
Damn.
We can't tell you who we're working with.
Why? Come on. If I guess
can't say it? No. What we can say is, people have asked us, can you release can you tell us where it's from? I said, well, we can tell you that it's not a Puro and it is a blend.
Okay.
So it's not a Nicaraguan Puro, not Dominican. It is a blend.
So it's not Aganorsa. Take them out of it.
Ecuadorian wrapper, Dominican binder, Nicaraguan fillers.
Yeah, take them out of it. Well, I guess placentia stuff that's not okay.
And it's going to be it's going to be the first of a few cigars. So we are going to be making more. This is going to be the first run. We definitely have plans to make at least 2 more.
Okay.
But I'm not sure how much we can really tell until it's fully released.
Let's play hot and cold here.
Hold on. Yeah.
All right. Hold on.
Hot and cold. I like hot and cold.
Ecuadorian wrapper. Hot or cold?
You're on fire. Is it like the dumpster in the background?
He's literally gonna go hot or cold, but he's gonna say Ecuadorian wrapper, and it's just like, if I say hot, then you know if it's right. If I say cold, he's just gonna ask. All right,
okay.
One wrapper.
Wait. We won't ask you about the blend. Let me start a little bit less pointed. Would it be a manufacturer that we would know of, like pretty like popular?
Yeah.
I would say. Okay.
We can tell you the size. We'll tell you the size.
Oh yeah, tell us the size.
So it's going to be a 5x54.
Oh,
okay.
Chubby donger. I like that, dude.
Like a Robusto Gordo kind of.
That's a good Vitola.
We like the Romeo and Juliet Wide Churchill the Cuban. We like that size, and that's kind of what we're emulating.
Yes, that was the inspiration behind this size.
I'm just so glad you guys didn't do like, I'm going to do a 7x60. God damn it!
No, hell no. I'm glad you brought that up, because here's the thought process, and I want to get this out to everybody, because people always say, "Oh, well, you have a cigar that's, for instance, let's take a Padron that's 5x50 and it's going to be $25 versus a cigar that's 7x60 and it's $10." They go, "Look how much! It's so much bang for your buck." No. Okay, why do you think the cigar that's 7 inches by 60 is that cheap? It's because the tobacco inside of it is not that good. It's not aged. It's very basic tobacco. The tobacco inside the smaller cigar, it's 3 times the price, is going to be much better tobacco. It's going to be much older. It's going to be aged. It's going to be a better region. That's why I'm getting all this tobacco. Yeah, but you're getting the shit. You're getting the scrap tobacco. That's why it's so cheap, and they can pack it all in there.
It's the weird thing that the basic consumer doesn't know. And I'm not knocking a consumer, because it is kind of misleading. But for people who I would say are very much embedded in this community, obviously understand that. I think oftentimes someone will see and kind of relish the idea. It's like, oh, I can smoke this really big cigar, right? And they look at it like, look at this great deal. Like this other size, it's less. I'm getting such a great deal on this. And then they smoke it, and they probably don't know the difference between it being good or not good. But I will say this, had they smoked the smaller Vitola, I guarantee they would have tell. So it's frustrating to see that. Sometimes I get a little upset because I see like large Vitolas just hit the marketplace. And I get why, if you're a manufacturer, I get why you do it. So I'm not blaming the manufacturer. Yeah. I do kind of blame the consumer. I'm just like, you assholes are the reason they keep doing this.
Listen,
there's certain cigars that are really that I will pay for. Like Zeno makes a 6x60. That is a good stick. Zeno. Okay. It's big, but it's a good stick, right? They make the Davidoff Royal Release.
Yeah,
which
that's
is a big
fucking
stick.
good. They're good. Their tobacco is phenomenal. Totally different.
Yeah. So it's a 6x60, but it's $55.
Yeah, exactly. Like, exactly. So I can't even put them in the same category. But like, you have like the Alec Bradleys of the world. No knock on Alec Bradleys, and they'll do like, what is it? The Texas Toast, or what? What the fuck is that one? I don't even know what it is. The Big Texan. I don't know. The fucking thing is like this big, and I'm like, come on, man.
Listen. Porn has led us to believe that a woman wants an 8-inch penis. But really, a woman just wants good sex. It doesn't matter about the size.
Tell them. Speak on it, Chris.
You know?
I like when Chris talks.
I love Chris.
He doesn't say much, and then he goes, listen. he's like,
I feel bad because he sits there saying, listen. We all cut him off. He goes, listen. We all cut him off, and he goes, listen.
He's like,
and then he chimes in with some porn comment.
What's the name of the rat in Ninja Turtles?
Splinter.
Master Splinter.
Chris is like Master Splinter. We're like the Ninja Turtles, like chirping, hey, what's up, bro? And then Chris is like, listen.
Yeah, that's true. That actually is, I mean, like that was an analogy on top of analogy, and I really appreciate that. That's pretty good. But yeah, so let's rewind. So 5x54, fucking great Vitola. Who else makes a 5x54 that I really like? It does the Viva La Vida. Do they have a 5x54 or is it a 5x52?
Because commonly people will have a 5x52. 5x54 is not as common.
Yeah, it's not as common. I know that.
It's more of a Cuban size. I know there's a bunch of Cubans that have like a 5x54. Even 5x52 is kind of Cuban too.
That 5x54, that's a good one because it's a lot of tobacco, but it's a shorter smoke. I like that. That's actually
it's okay. Take this however you want. I know Chris might chime in with another porn comment, but it fits nicely in your hand. So
it feels good in the hand once you have it in.
I'm not touching that one because I could go on forever. no one wants that. Well, dude,
yes,
congratulations on that. It's fucking,
Thank you.
So August is like the tentative release date. If everything kind of falls in place as intended, that's when we'll see it.
That's when it should be complete. We should say the production of it should be complete.
So when will you guys announce the particulars of the cigar? Upon that completion, are you going to tease it out at any point? Because it's July 1st, fellas. So like when do you start tickling the taint of the community and saying this is what it is?
When did we start?
Probably maybe by the end of July when we get the first when we get the first box, because the first box will come to us and we can finally take pictures of it with the label on there and all this. Then we'll probably tease that. So it's probably like August 1st is when it should we should start getting the first.
We haven't really talked about it too much. That's a good question. It's probably something we should obviously have
what's going to be the distribution mechanism? You guys going to sell that through your site? Like how are you setting all that up? Do you have a partner in place?
Yeah,
retailers. Yes. Yeah. So we will be going through retailers.
Holy shit, fellas! Look at you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you need to have a tobacco license in order to sell directly to consumers.
Right.
Okay. But you don't need one to sell to retailers. So
that's a Jersey rule.
That's a New York rule. Yeah.
Oh, that's a New York rule, dude. In Ohio, you have to have one at every single layer. Every single layer, you have to have a tobacco license.
$1,000.
And it's a goddamn nightmare.
So fortunately, whoever we're working with can sell to retailers, and then retailers can sell to the consumers. So we would be selling wholesale. So when people want to get the cigars, unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to sell them directly to the consumer. You would have to go through one of our partnering retailers.
Well, I hate to say it, but you guys are only 2 guys anyway. You know what I mean? Like that would be very, very challenging if you really want to push. I mean, that's why things like retail exist, right? That's why distribution exists. That's why wholesale exists. So you can get it out there and have other people work with you and for you in that regard. So you're not
in the future. In the future, we would, when it scales up to the point where like, hey, listen, no, we want to kind of do this ourselves so that we can hold more of the profit margin. Then we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
But PO box in PA and just say, fuck it, let's just get a license.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. Yeah. And then of course it's like, it's your brand. So your representation. So like you could even travel the stores. I mean, it's like that progression, right? Like you've seen people start at the inception of getting into it. And then you just see them build a brand over time. Like you guys are taking the necessary steps to do that. And you never know what it's going to morph into. I mean, this shit it could blow up and both of you be like, all right, we're quitting our fucking jobs. We're doing this full time. I mean, there's people who do that every fucking, they do it all the goddamn time. Like it happens and they're like, peace out. I'm fucking doing this thing. And it's,
why not us? Why not you? Come on.
Yeah.
Well, we can tell you this. This is one more thing we will tell you about the cigar.
Don't tell him.
All right, maybe I won't.
No, I have no idea.
God damn it, Eric.
I know. I'm just messing.
Hey, Eric, I can put you in timeout, right? I'm going to put you in timeout. I'm literally going to put you into a fucking waiting room. Next one, you go in the waiting room.
He's got strike 1.
Strike 2.
So people have always asked us, can you release the name? We're not going to tell you the name, but we will tell you that it will not be named the Burndown Podcast Cigar. Okay, because the whole thought process behind that is look at all of the brands out there, Plasencia, Padron, Oliva. They don't name it the Padron by Padron, the Plasencia by Plasencia, the My Father by My Father. It's something by Plasencia, right? This one, the Reserva Original by Plasencia, the 1926 by Padron. So will
it be something by Burndown?
Yeah, it'll be something, and then it'll be like a collab by the Burndown Podcast and so and so.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but it'll be our brand, our name, but it'll be made by this person.
Okay.
Don't you think do you guys ever find it interesting? I was thinking about this earlier and reflecting on the first initial conversation we had when we were on your podcast. And I was thinking about this. It's like, okay, Chris and I, 2 guys, I mean, we're actual brothers, but you guys are like brothers. So, I mean, I think a lot of people would think you guys are legit blood related if they didn't know any better. Right. With like just being organic and the chemistry around it. It's like, that you have that thing about you, right? That
they actually think that most people think that we are more related than him and his actual brothers are.
Oh shit!
Story.
I mean, that's a good thing. That bodes well for what you guys do in the podcast world, right? And I was thinking about like the similarities that we have, but also the differences, like between Chris and I, like. We're like I was thinking about Lord of the Rings and I was thinking about Gollum. I was like, Chris and I are like 2 Gollums and you guys are like the handsome like archers and elves. The knights and shit, like the elves, like beautiful creatures, and we're just like in the corner like
No, I want to be the guy. I want to be like the guy, the freaking, I don't even know what they call him. What's the bad one that gets axed in the middle of, he's running in the woods. He's like the main bad guy in the first one, I think.
Why do you want to be the bad guy?
Because he looks good. He's badass.
He looks cool.
I don't remember what he looks like, but you're just like, I have to be the bad guy.
I have to find a picture of him. But he's like the guy.
Please. That's fair.
I forgot.
Hey, Eric, I gotta ask you this question. So in Chris's background, he's got Indiana Jones, he got Harrison Ford, and Sean Connery, right? Going back and forth. Tell me the hat I wore the other day doesn't make me look like Indiana Jones.
So the episode will be out tomorrow, but Justin wore a hat just like Indiana Jones, and I'm like, and I kept calling it a wannabe cowboy hat, and he's like, it's not a cowboy, it's not a wannabe cowboy hat.
It's like a cowboy hat without the cool flips. It's like a prepubescent cowboy hat where it's like it's kind of getting there, but it's not quite there yet.
It's funny because when I wore it,
Stetson.
It's a Stetson. It's a velvet hat. It's made by Stetson. It's a velvet hat. It's a fashion hat. But it's funny because I got them for Christmas, and I told our viewers, I said, hey, I got these hats. I'm gonna start wearing them because I like the hats. It's cool. I don't have to do my hair. I can just throw a hat on, whatever. and it looks cool. It looks stylish. I like it. And I hadn't worn them. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to break them out now. Summer's in the air. I'm breaking it out. And he kept calling me freaking Woody from Toy Story. He's like, you got a friend. And he's like saying this shit. So then he's like, it's a cowboy hat. I'm like, listen, hold on a second. I was like, my girlfriend is from Texas. Her father is a straight up cowboy, rode freaking bulls back in his day. And he wears a cowboy hat every single day of his life. She goes, this is not a cowboy hat. It's not even close to a cowboy hat. She was like almost offended when somebody called it a cowboy hat. So when he said it, I'm like, it's not a fucking cowboy hat. Stop.
Yeah, don't say that in front of her, dude.
It's hilarious because I came over yesterday and he was editing it. He's like, dude, look at your face when I tell you it's not a cowboy hat. You're like, bro, chill. Okay, I get it. It's not.
But that's so okay. So you pretty much proved my point here, right? You guys there's like a sense of refinement. You play golf, like just the way that you hold cigars, you this relaxed pose. Where Chris and I are like backwards hat, like shitty ass fucking t-shirts, like just the we're the scum of like the cigar world. We're just like these nasty, like what's wrong with these fucking idiots? And you guys are like just these beautiful beings that just radiate all this greatness, and we just look like Gollum. We're just like sitting in the background, like, oh. I was thinking about like because comparatively, there's a lot of similarities, but
yeah.
I thought he looked a lot cooler when I was a little kid. Apparently not.
Dude, that's Leatherface. That's the guy. That's literally the guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's who that looks like.
It says Lurtz. Is that his name? Lurtz?
Lurtz?
Yeah. The guy that did the makeup and played that character played multiple of those characters throughout the entire series.
He's actually really scary, and I retract my statement.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was on board with it when you were explaining, even though I was confused initially. But I'm not on board anymore. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm hopping in that dumpster.
I'm also not gonna say that you are what's his name, Elijah Wood. I almost said Elijah Craig. That's a bourbon. Like you're not him either because he's just like this smarmy little puss. God, he drives me.
Swarmy little puss.
He is like they depict him to be such a badass in the show. I'm just like he's the biggest bitch in the entire series.
He's a little weasel.
God, it drives me nuts. It's like just be cool, like one of the big humans or elves. Like those guys are cool. You're not cool. And it's somehow it's like, how do you make him the main character? I get it. The stories and the books. Like Jesus Christ, fix it.
You're not cool. Change it. It's like that guy, like that. What's that TikTok? You're not that guy. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Dude, that is.
Are you? Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So funny. Anyway, hey, I wanted to, so I would like doing topical stuff on here. Did you guys hear Bill Cosby got released yesterday from prison?
Dude, anything's possible at this point.
Isn't that fucking wild?
Dude, bizarre. And NCAA athletes get paid too in the same
day.
The same goddamn day.
You talking about dude with catfish eyes?
Yeah. The guy with the leaky eye, the milky eye.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby. Yeah. Like one of his eyes just gave up at like the age of 70. It was just like, we're not on board anymore.
I'm out.
It gave it's like you ever hear about like trees will give nutrients to other things around them to help them survive. Like that's what his one eye did for his other eye. Like it was like, dude, I'm already giving up, but I'm gonna give you the rest of my nutrients so you can go on. And he just had this fucking dead eye.
It's like I gave you 70 years. That's all I got.
That's all I got. The rest of me goes to the other eye.
Dude, I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre how I don't know how he got released, but didn't he have like 60 women? Like
he did. Dude, the prosecution fucked up because they made a plea deal with them, and the plea deal was supposed to apparently follow a certain subset of like rules, and those rules weren't followed. And Bill Cosby was the brunt of those rules not being followed from a sentencing perspective. And the judge went back and reviewed it and was just like, yeah, like prosecution fucked up. You're free to go. And they can't retry him either. How fucked up is that?
But how do you feel as that judge saying, yeah, let him go? Like,
because those judges, man, they're all about the law. It's like what's written.
It's legit like O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
You all know he did it, but you can't try him again. Now he's going to like, all right, guess what? Here's a book about if I would.
I'm going to tell you exactly how to murder someone and get away with it, but you can't retry me.
So not only am I going to get away with it, but I'm just going to fucking give it to you on top of that.
Dude, but don't think for a second Cosby won't do the same thing. That fucker is crazy. He's such a narcissist. It's nuts. Like, I'm like, I mean, he's never gonna. I can't imagine him ever molesting it. I mean, look at him, dude. The guy is like half dead. Like he could barely move.
Yeah, he's not going far.
Well, his eye is fully dead. So.
His eye is definitely. His eye is definitely fucking dead. Like we're just gonna see like the left half of his face is just gonna all start dying. Like everything's just. He's gonna have Bell's palsy
real soon.
It'd be like one of those Snapchat filters which just starts melting on one side.
That's exactly, dude. He kind of looks like that. It's weird. Like the left side of his face is like, we're done. We give up. It's game over. Dude, it is really wild, and it's really sad too because like if there was ever such thing as just a surefire fucking case, that was it. I mean, it was like. There was no disparity at all. Like it was a lot of supported evidence from a lot of people who had very similar stories who came together. It was like, yeah, clearly he did it. And
do you think? Do you think?
Master Splinter speaking.
Do you think Jello Pudding will ever sponsor him again?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. What if Jello has just been waiting in the wings the whole time and they're like,
welcome back, Bill.
They're waiting for the eye. They're like, listen, your eye was kind of leaking at one point. Now it's fully gone. Jello man, here we go.
The one-eyed pudding guy. That's what it's gonna end up being.
Like, you know what I feel bad. I feel bad though for is all of the women that came out and took a lot of courage for them to come out. Once one came out, now they all came out. Now it's like it was for naught because. Guys released, and they say it built up all that courage to finally expose, like, because that's a tough thing to bring to the public and bring to the light. And
for multiple reasons. For multiple reasons.
They did that, and now it's like all that courage was for nothing.
And now they live with that forever. Like it's hard.
Unless now here's the caveat. Unless
an assassination,
one of them kills him. Yep,
that's what I thought. I thought someone
literally
met up.
Dude, he may end up getting killed. Like it may, who knows? But speaking of that, let me divert from that story and go to this story. John McAfee, the guy dude, what is happening in the world?
Wait,
committed suicide and then got a tattoo that said, if you ever think I've committed suicide, look at my tattoo. And his tattoo said whacked. And he was like, I didn't commit suicide. Someone killed me. 2 days before his extradition to the United States, he's found dead in a fucking prison.
That's going to be a documentary on Netflix in 2 years.
Yes, it will. I did shorter than that.
Who is this?
John McAfee, the security guy. You know the shit that you put on your fucking PC? That guy. The crazy guy.
The guy that wanted to hunt people?
Yeah, and he was like hiring all those weird Spanish women to sit on they were sitting on they were like shitting on him through the hammocks. Dude, fucking wild.
Bro.
Wild.
People are fucking sick.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. He ran for fucking president, guys. I don't know if you remember that. He ran for fucking president. By the way, he ran for president in 2016. No one remembers, but he did. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, he did. Didn't go far, but he did.
I was gonna say he probably didn't get. He didn't go. Nobody knew because he didn't even get past.
No,
the first round. It was like
no. Well, I mean, yeah, no Republicans are getting on board with that. Everyone knew he was crazy, but he ran. Like he was serious about it. He was campaigning and everything, and then it just obviously fell on its face. But yeah, there's no way that was suicide. No fucking way. He got Epsteined for sure.
He definitely got Epstein because Epstein definitely didn't do that either.
Dude, is that going to be a fucking word now in Google? Getting Epstein?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like it reminds me of fucking. Remember the movie Kingpin when he goes got Munson down in the middle of nowhere? He's like, what the hell is Munson? He goes, you never heard of Munson before? It's this guy's last name. It's literally going to be what guy got Epstein.
Guy got Epstein, man. Yeah, and it makes you think about too because like when he already came out and had said something to the effect again. That I didn't commit suicide. If you find me dead, it's not because I killed myself. It's because I was killed. And then gets a fucking tattoo that says whacked on his arms. Is there any more evidence to suggest that this guy was murdered? I mean,
dude, when is it going to make like a turn and something's going to just fucking change and be like, all this is fabricated. Like, I'm just waiting. Like, I don't know what I'm waiting for, but like, there's so much cover up throughout the years, obviously. Decades and decades, right? That we'll never know about. But it's like, when is enough going to be enough for people?
When's the last straw?
It's like everybody plays coy about it too. They're like sitting there in the jail cell looking at his dead body. It's like, do you think it was suicide? Or maybe natural causes. We're not sure. While he's got a hole in his head from a bullet shot. It's like, right. They're just like play oblivious.
I agree and the crazy thing is like, if you think about the association of power specifically, like, okay, so John McAfee worth tons of money, not surprised at all if they find a connection between him and Epstein, and they're probably killed by the same people. And then you have Epstein worth a ton of money. And then you have all the political association, people who are worth a ton of money. And they're all in this like little gang and clique together. And I'm with you, Eric. Like, at what point do we all kind of look at it and go, I don't know that we can ignore this thing, because that's what people are doing. And here's the reality. Each individual person has their own fucking problems in their lives. So they don't make those their problems. You hear it on the news and you go, God, that's fucked up. And then guess what? Then you go eat your fucking pork chop. And then you don't give another shit about, because you have your own life to fulfill and you have your own problems to worry about. Yeah. But dude, this is like some serious shit. Like, all this stuff that's coming out, and all these people are associated with this really weird behavior around this weird fucking creepy island with all these little kids, and everybody's kind of just like, God, that's fucked up. And then they're like, hey honey, what's for dinner? Now I think people are like, okay, that's really fucked up. Someone should really look into this a little bit more. This is crazy shit.
You know what ties into it too, and we talk about this on the Burndown a lot, is that in today's, I mean, not even today's world, this goes back for many years, just kind of how the general population is. We call them sheeple. It's they're just, they don't want to think. Nobody wants to think for themselves. They want everybody to think for them. Yep. So they will just listen and follow whatever orders they're given, because they're a bunch of sheeple. They just listen to the herder and go and just walk around and follow whatever orders they're given, because they don't want to think for themselves. That's literally what's happened. Is they turn on TV, they go, okay, that's what happened. That's the truth. Okay, that must be true. Done. And
we're talking about heat advisories. Like, it's 99 degrees. Make sure you remain cool and stay inside, and don't do anything heavily outside. Remain cool. We're like, really? People need to know.
You need to know that? I need to be told to stay cool.
Go in the pool.
Yeah, that's
hang out in the air conditioner.
What they say.
Yeah, that is so you're exactly right though. And there's so much of the population that subscribes to that way of thinking, because I think for a lot of people, it's easier just to be told, right? Because it gives them a sense of direction. They don't have to create their own path, because someone is paving it for them. They just need to walk behind it.
It's really true. Yeah.
And that's what's fucking, dude, that shit's scary, because that's such a huge part of the world population. Not even the US. The US is obviously very bad. It's been exacerbated in the US, but worldwide, there's certain things like, not that I want to get too deep into this, but even like religious beliefs. You think about other countries around the world, that religious path has been paved, and so many people to death subscribe to it. And I'm not saying that's right, wrong, or indifferent, but it's just that the difference between like free thinking and free will is stifled by like these ideas that are being put into people's heads. And that happens with us. Our media is by far the worst with that. It's like people literally look at it and they're like, oh, this is the gospel. And you're just like, are you fucking crazy? Like there are certain people that, and it's sad to say, like I've disassociated with people as I've gotten older and as I've matured, right? From my early 20s now into my 30s, like I can't subscribe to that way of thinking. And it's not so much what you believe in. It's that, do you have backed up reason for why you believe in something? Can you articulate why you believe in something? If you can defend why you believe in something, I'm all about it. And I don't care what you believe in. But if you can't even tell me what you subscribe to and why you subscribe to it, and it's only because you've heard something, or it's this like weird disconnected association, I'm like, I'm out. Like I cannot be associated with you. Like
we talk about this book called Outwitting the Devil, Justin and I, by Napoleon Hill. And it's all about just being able to be free thinking, like think for yourself. And you can be poor, but if you can think for yourself and have an optimistic mind, you're still free, regardless of financial burdens or whatnot. But most people who are poor, they say, I can't do it. I'm fucking poor. I'm just going to just do what they tell me because I'm poor. And as opposed to people who are millionaires who came from nothing, they think for themselves. And they say, you know what? I'm not going to go with the rest of the people. I'm going to think on my own and create my own path, like you said. It's all about being able to think for yourself. Like it's, and you explained it pretty good. I mean, very good, actually, Corey. You said, people just don't want to create their own path. They'd rather just be told what to do because it's easier that way. And that's how most of the world is. They just want to rather take the easy route.
Yeah, which is crazy to me, because I think about fulfillment in life. Like, I really, my dad said this before, because like I've made stupid decisions in my life. Like, I don't want to say like stupid, but like financially, it's like, do I really need to buy this car? And then I know my dad is always like, he's the devil on my shoulder, but like in a good way. Cause there's one part of me that's saying like, that's an irresponsible thing to do. Save the money, invest it, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. And I'll call my dad and I'll be just like, hey, I really think about like, hey, I want to order one of these cars. And my dad will be like, will it make you happy? And I'm like, I mean, I fucking love cars. And he'd be like, then fucking do it. He's like, you live one time. Like, you don't get a second shot. So you can't do this and then start over and do something else. Like, you can only do this thing. Like, you can only do it one time. So if that's what you want to do, he goes, go and fucking do it. Like, don't think about it. Just go do it. And then I go and buy the fucking car and then I sell it in a year because I'm like, that was a mistake. But it was my mistake to make. And it was like, that was my thing to do. Like, that was, and in the moment, yeah, did I get fulfillment? Of course. And then you just turn around and you fucking sell it and you move on to the next thing or whatever. But like, I don't regret it.
As long as, like you said, as long as you learn from the mistake, then
yes.
Right.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude.
Yeah, and it's like you said, where if
over and over, then you're good.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
And you
exactly.
said, where you made it was your mistake to be made, and it's like, all right, if you did your research, this is what you want. Okay, boom, you bought the car, and then a year later you said, okay, crap, I got to sell it. But at least you made an informed decision. You learn from it. You whether or not, and we talk about it, just make a decision. You know, because so many people get so caught up in trying and thinking about what decision they're going to make that they never actually make one.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing we talk about where, all right, if you want to do something, whatever it is in life, you want to start a podcast, if you want to start a business, if you want to do this, if you want to do that. So many people spend years trying to decide whether or not they should or shouldn't, instead of just make the decision, take the leap. And if it's wrong, if you made a wrong decision, you can backtrack. Like you said, I bought the car, it was the wrong decision, I sold it, and now I'm going to not go in this direction and make a different decision. Right. But if you just stand here the whole time and never make the decision, then you'll never know whether it's right or wrong, because you can make the decision and maybe, like, let's say it was on the flip side, you wanted to invest it and you're like, I don't know if I should invest it. Should I save it? Should I invest it? If I save it, I have the money. If I invest it, maybe I can get more, blah, blah, blah. You're not sure. And you're sitting all the time. I'm not going to make the decision.
Right.
Instead of
stuck
saying,
on the fence.
Fuck it. Right. Make the decision, and then boom, you invest it. You're like, holy shit, that was the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah.
But if you always spend the time just preparing and never making the decision, then you won't know if it's right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And all the times in which you're like, you can think and reflect back on the mistakes you've made. I think when you're assessing risk in your head, they always seem more troubling than what they actually end up being. You know what I mean? Because at the end of it, it's just like, I got to sell this fucking car. Like, it's not a burden.
Everybody thinks like the worst. They always jump to what's the worst. That they think of the worst possible outcome instead of thinking what's the best possible outcome.
I know, dude. I tell that to so many people. Like, I have a team at the job that I have that reports to me, and I always tell them, like, let's explore the possibilities and not swim in what can't be done. Let's think about what can be done. And that's
in the book too,
man. It's crazy.
That's in the book that Erica just mentioned, Outwitting the Devil. One of the biggest things.
Outwitting the Devil.
It's by Napoleon Hill, the famous author of Think and Grow Rich, one of the best success books of all time. And the book is called Outwitting the Devil. And he sits down and has a conversation with the devil. Whether or not you believe in heaven and hell and God and the devil, regardless, if you don't believe in the devil, just substitute the word devil with negativity, because that's all it really means in this book. But he sits down with the devil and has a conversation and asks, how do you control 98% of the population? Mm-hmm. And he says, I instill my being, my negative. He even says, he goes, I'm not a horned red devil with freaking black wings. And he goes, I'm not like that. I'm negative force. And I just instill my negativity into everybody and prevent them from doing what they want to do. And one of the biggest things he says is fear. He goes, I instill fear into people to make them think of the worst possible outcome and be afraid of what could go wrong so they never make a decision.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that sounds like a pretty profound book.
It's crazy.
It's great.
It's
also,
great.
I feel like would be crazy to read if you were high. Like, to me, like, if you were smoking weed, you read that, you'd be like, what the fuck is
You'll definitely
a good book
for that, for sure. You'll
definitely a good book.
You'll get more endorphins than reading the book regularly.
I know. Well, I can't read. So is it on tape? Is it an audiobook?
Okay. We can read it. We can read it to you. We can set up a time every single week.
Story time, dude. You guys should do story time on your fucking. So you said you do 30-minute Zoom sessions. Do story time with Corey. Like you're reading me a book. I'll be just like tucked in bed with like a little teddy bear, and you just read to me over Zoom. People will be like, "What weird fetish shit are they doing over there?"
Today's story time. Curious George with Corey.
Oh, I could use story time, man. I love story time. Okay, so what else, before we wrap this up, what else do we need to know or should we know about what you guys are doing? What do you have upcoming? We talked about the cigar. We talked about the website. What else?
Well, I don't know when this episode will be released, but at the moment of
days, sir, in a matter of
okay, so perfect. So right now we are hosting a YouTube giveaway, which is it's on YouTube. It's also on Instagram. We have 3 prizes. There's a first, second, and third, and you can enter into the giveaway. If you're on Instagram, all you have to do is head over to YouTube, subscribe, screenshot it, and send it to us to let us know that you subscribe. Or you can just share the story if you're already a subscriber. If you find the video on YouTube, all you got to do is subscribe, like, and comment that video on YouTube. But the goal is once we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we're right around 875, give or take, at the moment. So once we hit 1,000, we'll announce the winners to that. So The goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully we get there in the next month or so. But that's the other thing that's kind of going on. So we have the monthly giveaways with the membership, along with those exclusive discounts we talked about on the website. We also have this YouTube giveaway that's going on, the cigar coming. Lots of stuff.
We got Cigar Fest. We got Cigar Fest in October, and in Pennsylvania. You guys should
nice.
Come.
Where at in Pennsylvania?
It is
Lake Harmony.
Where the fuck is that?
It's the Poconos.
Oh shit. Okay.
Well, whenever I get out of here, I'll maybe see if I can join you.
Chris has got to break out of that room.
Listen, we've been talking about bad choices, and listen, I told my buddy Indy, he's like, listen, there's this fucking hot ass blonde historian that I just met, and she wants to go on an adventure with me. I was like, dude, that sounds like perfect. Like that's like your ideal woman. I was like, you should definitely hook up with her. Look where that got me. Look where that got me.
Not a Nazi. Make sure she's not a Nazi.
I know.
Dude, I am held up in some Nazi-occupied manner right now because
it's telltale sign she was blonde with blue eyes.
Well, you'd think I would be okay, but they found out I was Polish, so look where I'm at.
Yeah, your background is great because it looks like you're tied up right with them.
Yeah, it really does. It looks
it's like fantastic.
And they're yelling in each of your ear. Every time they turn,
I know, that's just funny. Like, Chris, come on. That's fantastic. All right, before we close this out, I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and each of you can answer these questions. They're picked at random. But they may reveal stuff about you, because I always think it's very important with anybody that we have on the podcast that it's things that reveal stuff about you that people otherwise wouldn't know through cigar discussions and so on. But they are at random, but they could potentially get personal. So just brace yourself. Question number 1, and this is for both of you. What is your greatest source of inspiration?
Greatest source of inspiration.
Greatest source of inspiration would be, and I read this or I heard this, or I read this somewhere, but it said the worst hell that anybody could live is being on your deathbed and coming face to face with all the people that you could have been but didn't.
Oh, dude, that's trippy as fuck.
Or another way to think about it would be, and this is, for me, I don't want to get religious here, but when I come face to face with the big man upstairs at the end of my days, would I have let him down, or would I have lived up to what he wanted me to be?
Oh, dude,
that would probably be.
That's some deep.
How the fuck do you want me to answer that after those two? I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, literally. That's tough, Eric. You should probably went first.
Yeah.
So why we do this? So I'll answer the first question, and then Eric answers the second question. I'll answer the
all right,
Eric.
Eric, this is one I think is right up your alley. You ready for this? What's the wildest thing you've ever done?
The wildest thing I've ever done. There's a few. I mean, the first one that comes to mind, wildest thing I've ever done? Shit. I mean, I did jump off like a 50-foot rock in very shallow waters in Pennsylvania once, and I survived, and I lost my iPhone. But that was probably one of the most exhilarating moments of my life because it took me a long fucking time to jump.
Dude, that would scare the living shit out of me. I would never.
The rock is literally called the Fridge, right? And it looks just like a fridge. And you have to take a jet. It's in a lake in Pennsylvania. It's actually right by Ohio, in Sugar Grove, Pennsylvania, that area. And you take a jet ski there, and you have to climb up, and it's literally like 50 feet. And you look down, and you see like rocks on like the shallow end, but it does get deeper. But to like freely, I never actually freely jumped off of anything before in my life. So I thought, I'll just go and just jump off. But it took me like 10 up and downs to finally do it. And then before I went, I was telling my mom, I said, Mom, there's this giant rock. She goes, oh, do it. I jumped off a rock in Jamaica, and it was the best thing ever.
Yeah, that famous rock in Jamaica. Yeah. That's like a really.
She really said YOLO without saying YOLO. She's like, you only live once. And I was like, so as I'm like thinking, I'm like, fuck it. My mom did it. I'm just going to do it. And I ran, and I fucking jumped off. And it felt like you're on a roller coaster, but with no harness. And like, there's no like safety net. And it was fucking exhilarating. So that's
So that scares the shit out of me. It's something I would never do. But here's why. My fear is, and I think it's just because of my body weight distribution. Because I like for my body size, like I have an unproportionately large head, and my center mass is kind of weird. It's a little bit lower. So I always have this fear that if I run and jump, I'm going to tip over and I'm just going to belly flop. Like I can't control my legs going down first, and that I would just hit like face first on the water. That's my biggest fear. It's not heights. I'm not scared of heights. I'm not scared of fucking jumping in water. I love water. It's the fear of my body's going to tilt itself, and I'm not going to be able to recover, and I'm going to face plant the water.
I have such a similar fear, not so much the leaning thing, but I'm afraid that if I jump from too far up, that when I hit the water, too much water is going to be shoved up my ass. Then I'm going to get like a weird enema.
Yeah, do you get that fucking?
You might like it a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's Chris's biggest fear. He's just like, I may actually enjoy it. And what does that mean? All right, Justin, this one directed to you. Do you prefer living alone or with somebody?
Knowing that you have a girlfriend.
Well, yeah, so that's tough. So I can say that I'll tell you like a story, and it kind of answers the question. When I was in college, my first year I lived with a roommate, obviously because you had to live on campus. But my second year I joined into a house with a bunch of people. And then the third year I went into another, like an apartment complex with a bunch of people. And after those 2 years, I said, fuck this. I'm living by myself because people don't pick up after themselves. People are disgusting. They have weird ass habits. And I said, I'm not living with anybody else for the rest of my life. And from that point, I lived by myself up until now when I lived with my girlfriend, so it's, I would prefer if I wasn't with my girlfriend, who I love to death,
be alone.
I'd be alone. I'd live by myself.
Yeah. Same. Oh God. Geez. I mean, there's something to have that like sense of control. Not that like I'm not a control freak, and you guys don't sound like control freaks, but like you do sound like, I would say probably similar to me as far as like if things like weird habits or messiness, like I can't handle that. I have an OCD brain, so things have to be tidy in order, very organized.
No, I like to be in control. I like to have things my way, or I get kind of fucking antsy.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Dude, I see like if I see shit just laying on the ground that's not supposed to be there, I'm this guy. I'm like,
yep.
What the fuck?
Like I used to live like these kids I used to live with.
Stacking in the sink. I hate unmade beds. Shit lying over the floor. And it's my mom's fault because my mom made me do my own laundry, clean my own room. Like my mom.
Amen.
She made dinner. She was like, everything else you can do on your own.
That sounds like our mom. Yeah, we're the same way. Like figure it out. I travel for work, and we're like, all right.
Yep. Laundry piling up. Hate laundry piling up. Can't stand it.
Yeah. That's one. Oof. That's
like my middle brother.
Like I had two guys.
He would have clothes like a landmine scattered all over his room for a month, and then one day say, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the dry cleaner and come back with like 4 dry cleaning bags of clothes, and I'm like, dude, you're out of your mind. Like I don't know how you do it. I can never live like that.
Yeah.
You knew he had a girlfriend when he cleaned it up.
I had 2 kids. I had two people in college. One would make himself dinner, take it to the living room, watch TV, eat dinner, and when he was done, would just get up and leave his dishes on the coffee table in the middle of the living room. I said, dude, you literally, like, I don't even care if you do the dishes immediately. Just pick it up and put it in the sink. That's all you have to do.
It's not.
Or just leave it there.
Yeah.
And then the other one she would go in the shower, and I don't know how this fucking happens, but her hair would be everywhere, like painted on the fucking walls. I go, what the hell is going on?
That's me.
It got so bad that I wouldn't even shower in my own place. I was going to the locker room, and I was showering in my locker room on campus, and then coming, like, after the day, I would go in early, I would shower, or after basketball practice, I would shower. I was like, I'm not even going to my own bathroom at home because it was disgusting.
Yeah, that's so much. I've seen some really, like, especially like college. I've seen some real.
Can I tell you a horror story about long hair from the shower?
You guys got luscious locks.
Shoot.
It gets everywhere. I'll put it.
The worst thing you know, it's one thing to pull someone else's long hair out of your ass crack. That's weird and gross enough, right? But the worst is when you feel a slight throbbing in your groin, and you look down and you pull down your boxers and your shorts, and you find that your penis is turning purple because someone else's hair is wrapped around your dong.
I've been there, actually.
Yeah, that's it. Now here's what's even more strange is when it's your own hair. That happens to me all the time. I swear to God, my wiener in the shower is like a towel rack for my hair. It just like, it's just, dude, I get out of the shower and it's just like, it looks like Cousin It flipped his hair forward. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where did all this hair come from? It's terrible. Shit, it gets everywhere, man. Even my
seen
wife,
that shade of purple before.
Oh, dude, you should see, like, I've taken pictures of it before, like the hair that just like me and my wife that's just in the drain. No, not of my dick with fucking Cousin It hair.
Yo,
on
Chris, you gotta check this out.
Check this out. Homemade drapes. Look at this. No, it's like just the hair that accumulates in the shower drain. It's dude, it's when your hair's this long, it's fucking wild. It's really gross. All right, next question. Eric, this one was going to be directed towards you, but because we had the Stetson hat story, I feel like I've got to give this one to Justin real quick. How many hats do you own?
How many hats? Baseball caps, I own about 4. Beanies, I own 3. And fashionable hats, I own 4.
Oh, I thought like you were going to say like fashionable hats, 77.
No, I don't have that many. I have 3 fashionable hats. I have one that's like a German hat that I wore on one of our Burndown Podcast Oktoberfest episodes. I have a bunch of beanies that I like to wear because they're just super comfortable. And then I have a bunch of baseball caps. I'm more of a baseball cap guy throughout the day. But
obviously.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
okay. That's a lot less than I expected.
Yeah, I don't have that many. I mean, I have about 4 or 5 baseball hats that I wear, and I got like 2 beanies, and then I have one of those freaking, what do you call them, like summer hats, like the straw hats.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
The ones like if you're out boating that just keep.
Yeah, and it's like an American flag. It has like an American flag lining, and it's sick.
Oh yeah, that's
awesome. That's my fashionable hat.
I like those hats. Those hats are sweet. I bought one of those when I was like 12 years old. I was the coolest fucking 12-year-old rolling around with a hat like that. Remember that Chris in Hilton Head? I bought one. I don't even know what the fuck I bought that thing. I was so young, it made no sense. And I'm like,
you bought that, and I bought a 6X Fat Albert shirt that fit like all of our friends in the same.
That's right.
6X?
Yeah, 6X. Dude, we could fit.
I didn't know they made that.
You could fit 4 people inside this T-shirt.
I got it at a Marshall's.
It was awesome. Wow. It was really cool. They like made it for one guy. They're like, there's definitely one guy out here that's going to buy this. Never bought it. Chris ended up buying it. Eric, question for you, and we'll leave this will be the last question. You guys can, I'm sure you're probably sick of us by now. What is your favorite song to sing in the shower?
Oh, wow. I'm trying to think of one I was recently just singing. Favorite song to sing. I could tell you my favorite fiance songs, which she sings in the tub every single night.
Tell me that. Let's go there.
She sings Mulan all the time.
Really?
I'm all the time.
Oh, dang.
Interesting.
But for me, what the hell was the song I was singing the other day? who sings it. It's a song. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. It's a song called Mrs. Jones, but it's not the 90s one. It's not that song. It's like a 70s song.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Jones.
Me and Mrs. Jones by Billy Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a belcher right there in the shower that I'll do all the time.
Nice.
That one's smooth. That one's making. I feel like I got soul in that song in the shower.
Like when you sing it, like there's you in your own head, and I don't know if you can sing or not sing. I'm making an assumption that you're probably not a great singer, but if you were, that's awesome. Just the way that you're saying it. I'm not shitting on you. But like when you sing it, you ever notice like I know that I'm a horrific singer. But there's certain songs that I sing and that when I'm done, I'm like, fucking nailed it.
Fucking crushed.
Yep. You know, everybody else who would have heard me would have been like, what in the fuck is he squealing about? And then in my head, I'm just like, fucking nailed it.
How about when you're singing a song and you're in the car and you're by yourself. So you're like, you know what? I'm really going to go for it. I'm really going to try to hit these notes. And all of a sudden, like you get to a next level and you actually hit a note. You're like, oh, fuck, I just hit that. Like, I didn't know I hit that.
You're looking at the cars behind you and you're like, you hit a high note. So the next time you're in your car, somebody's in the car with you and you're like, yo, check this out. And then you go for it and you fucking destroy it. Just not even close. You're like, I swear I can hit this note. I will say this. There one person in this collective group right now that can sing, and that's Chris. So when he actually belts a note, he fucking hits the note. It's crazy. So like he can sing and hit these weird fucking notes and like just like whatever song is playing, just nail it. And then I'm over here like in my head, I'm like, I fucking nail it. But exactly, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a cat being fucking flung in the air by its tail. Like
that's I'm like,
you're like I fucking nailed it. And Chris was like, no, you didn't. Not even close.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, I know better to ever try to sing in front of him because I know that there's no part of me that's ever going to sound good. I would even argue with lessons, it's just not going to be good. So I just don't even fucking try. Just don't even try.
Hey man, as long as you're alone, you're in your own world.
See, that's exactly how I feel about it. I'm like, when I'm by myself, who gives a fuck? Like, I'm entertaining myself. I'm not here to entertain other people. Now, it does get awkward when people walk.
I have my phone like right on top of my shower, and I'll just be I'll be like in my own head, like I'm like a 15-year-old teenager.
Fucking awesome. You set up like all your old childhood stuffed animals and like in a little arena setting surrounding your shower.
All right, guys, like, you ready for this one?
That sounds good, right?
Oh, that'd be awesome. I kind of want to do that. Dude, that would freak my wife out if she like walked in and I'm like singing to an audience of like stuffed animals.
You got the teddy bear over there. All right, Mr. Bear, it's your turn. Come on now.
Oh, that'd be fucking great. Guys, I will say this has been an absolute pleasure. This was really fucking fun. Really fun. I appreciate you guys being on for sure. Let's hit up how can people find you on social media, your YouTube, and your website. Where do people go?
Find us on Instagram at the Burndown Podcast. Justin is the Dapper Cigar. I'm Brother Cigar. You can find us on YouTube at the Burndown Podcast, and the website is www.burndownpodcast.com.
And you guys are doing all kinds of cool shit, giveaways every single month, cool content, the whole thing. You guys, like, I don't know how you do it. It seems like you fucking always stay busy. Always. Like you're always doing something.
We're dedicated. We're humbled by it because it's hard to come up with shit. It's hard to find two people that can constantly do this, bounce ideas off each other, constantly have the same mentality of putting the work in. Yep. So it's a very humbling and lucky experience for sure.
Yeah, that was one thing, when I've had people who have asked me about like starting a podcast, doing all those things, like, and it sometimes often becomes like, oh, I really want to do something kind of similar. I really like, the path that you've created and how did you get to where you're doing all this stuff? And I was like, if you don't feel that you don't have it in you to dedicate a really sincere amount of time and effort, it's like, just don't do it because you're just not going to give it your best. I mean, there's like, you guys know this, there's things that are grueling. Like you'd be up super late producing something, creating content for this thing, coming up with ideas. What do we do next? And how do we do this project? And what are we working on here? And it's all these different things that you've got to fit in and collapse into such a short period of time. It fucking takes a lot of work. And a lot of people don't know it, but like, I will say this to like your audience, to our audience. Like, I love when people support like you guys and they support the collective cigar community, like folks who are doing this type of stuff in the cigar community, because it is not easy. It is fucking grueling. And it's a lot of work to put out content for people to enjoy, because what they see is like 50 minutes to an hour and a half of your time. But what you dedicate to it is hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. For one
yes.
thing.
Now, do you guys both have children or no?
I have 4 dogs.
I have 3 human children.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So essentially both you guys have kids. So Chris, how do you guys run this podcast? So much dedication with the family. Like how does that work?
Well, Corey does a huge proponent. He's a huge proponent to social and production of the show. And I do creative stuff, but all of it has to happen at night, like super late at night. Like as soon as the kids go down for bed, I'm doing work. Like I will go sit on my balcony or outside, even if it's blistering ass cold out, and I will smoke a cigar and I will work outside.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's one of those things where I usually, like, depending on like producing the podcast or coming up with content or doing reviews or like, you know, posting stuff on the website or getting YouTube ready and all that shit, it's usually like when my wife goes to bed is when I start working. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, 10:30, 11 at night. And it's like, hey, I'm going to bed. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to head outside or I'm going to head downstairs. I'm going to work for a couple hours and then I'll be up to bed. So it's usually a dedication of time that exists outside of like normal hours. Cause we're all busy. Everyone's busy with shit that they got to do during the day. And it's like, you just, and it's weird. You just find the fucking time. Like that's the thing. It's like, you just find the time to do it. Like, even if it's parceled out an hour, 2 hours here, you find the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. It's anything. And I can even say like one quick example where you say you just literally find the time, and what I find helps is scheduling time in your day to do specific tasks, because bad habits will form in the empty spaces on your calendar.
100%.
So if you don't have time dedicated, like for instance, you know, and we go back and forth with editing videos, and you mentioned it, you touched on it, where if you have an hour video, people just see an hour video on YouTube and like, oh, this is great, but they don't see that it took you an hour to film it, and then it took you 5 hours to edit it, and then it took you another half hour to make the thumbnail and to upload and all this stuff, and then it took you another hour to put, like, they don't see all that stuff. But if you dedicate, say, okay, today I don't have many meetings for work. Like, fortunately, I work from home, so I can kind of do stuff when I don't have meetings. So say, okay, I have a block from 12 to 3 right now. I'm editing. I am getting a cup of coffee and I'm editing the video from 12 to 3. But one thing that Eric and I did the other day, like for instance, yesterday when we had a time scheduled, every Wednesday we get together and we sit for about 4 to 5 hours and we make content. We film, we post Instagram, we do reels, we do business ideas, collaborate, we do everything, right? And yesterday we had a time slot. Okay, from 7 to 8 we have an interview. The interview wound up getting delayed. We couldn't do it, so we had to push it to another time. So like, all right, what can we do now for this hour to fill up the time? So okay, cool. Justin, I'm going to get on and I'm going to do this YouTube giveaway. Eric's going to go on. He's going to do networking on Instagram. And then, okay, we have 5 minutes now, or we have 10 minutes before we have to do another thing, because we had 6:30 to do another cigar video. We have from 6:15 to 6:30. What are we going to do? Let's go outside. Let's take some pictures for the Instagram. Let's take some reels for the Instagram. So it's, even if you have 10 to 15 minutes, you can do something.
Right.
I mean, get personal right here. I network when I'm on the fucking shitter. Okay. If I'm doing my
is there
business,
a better way?
I'm on my phone and I'm fucking networking.
That's where you have time. Like that. There's such a dedication of time
so
there.
So much shit done there, right?
Yeah,
like,
literally.
You got to just find the time. Like you said, make the time. Yep. There's time in the day. There's plenty of time in the day. If you shut off Netflix, if you shut off all the distractions, there's plenty of fucking time.
Dude, that's exactly it. It's the distractions. It's the other things, like you said, to fill the time. Because I've always heard people make that argument as far as like not working out or going to the gym. I'm like, if you literally 30 minutes of your day out of a 24-hour day, if you're telling me that you cannot dedicate that time, you're mismanaging your time. It's such a minute amount of time, percentage-wise, in comparison to the 24 hours in a day. And Absolutely. I really feel that way about like producing this stuff and all that. It's like, you know, I've done that. I was like, Netflix shows I don't watch as many of. HBO I'm not on as much. I'm not there's no other consumable time for me to do things that, you know, that are just kind of like blank time or sit down and relax. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to sit down and relax anyway. I get really fucking antsy. Like just ADHD, call it what you will. Like I've got to be fucking doing something. And we schedule everything that we produce, and it's very methodically scheduled. There's calendars that we work off and the whole thing. So having a structure to it certainly helps. But just like even the production of things, or it's like you really want to go a little bit further with something, or you're just trying to like get some creative criteria for the next podcast. It's like I'll sit down and dedicate hours to that very thing to make sure that by the time we're ready to go, we're ready to fucking go. And everything exactly the way it should be.
And it basically where if it's a priority, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse.
For sure.
Right. So if you really want to you'll find a way to figure it out. And like you said, okay, there's a time and place for everything. Like my girlfriend and I, every week, there's one night where it's date night. Yep. I'm not working on the podcast. I'm not working on Instagram. We're going to go out. We're going to have dinner. We're going to sit down. We're going to watch a movie. And that's like, and it could be 3 hours and we're going to spend the time together. Or, okay, let's say Tuesday night I finished editing or something, or I'm doing some work. Say, okay, you know what? We'll watch a movie, 2 hours, but we're not going to sit there from 5 o'clock till 11 o'clock watching 6 episodes of a show. Right. That's not going to happen. Right. We'll watch 1, maybe 2, and then go back to your business. So there's time and place to like take breaks, but it's just finding a way, figuring it out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's enough time. People who suggest that there isn't are simply mismanaging time.
Think about it. If you sleep for 8 hours and you work for 8 hours, let's say, okay, you commute, and let's say it's okay, 10 hours of work because you hour there, an hour back. So you sleep for 8, you work for 10. That's 18 hours. Okay. Let's say you want to go to the gym. Okay. So now you have an hour there. Okay. So that's 19 hours. Let's say you have time for the family and you have time to eat and this, that, and the other thing. Let's say that's another 3 hours. So you're at 22 hours. What are you doing for the other 2?
Yeah. You still got 2 hours.
You still have 2 hours, and that's like a good time where you can do 2 hours of solid work. And that's if you've already worked for 10 hours.
That's if you've already committed to doing all those other things. Right.
If you don't have all those other things, you have 4 hours out of the day. What are you doing?
Yep. I agree. Oh, dude, those hours are always filled with something. And it's never really anything meaningless.
I don't really watch TV. I watch more YouTube than TV or Netflix or anything.
Same.
If I'm sitting around, I'm like, fuck, I could be editing the podcast. I can be making a video. I could be doing something on Instagram right now. What am I doing? I gotta be doing something. I gotta be doing it. Yep. You don't never just chill. Like besides the time that we spent time together, but like in the morning, I'll wake up. I'm up on Saturday morning. I'll be up at 7:30. Like, all right, I'm gonna get my computer and just start working on the podcast.
That's literally me. I swear to God, every Saturday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning on the fucking dot, I'm producing. Every Saturday morning, I spend the entire weekend going through and producing everything, getting everything straight for the next week, upcoming, start to figure out, okay, calendar, schedules, all that. I do that. Like the bulk of what I do is on that Saturday morning. Cause to me, that's my non-work, quiet, free time. Like my wife she fucking sleeps forever. So it's like, I've got all this time in the morning and I just hammer so much.
And it's cool too. Cause like, think about it. Okay. Let's say you sleep for 8 hours. You don't have to sleep for 8 hours. You can sleep for 6 or 6.5 and be totally functional.
I haven't slept for 8 hours and I can't tell you how long.
You know what I'm saying? So like, okay, great. If you can do 8 hours, like I try to get 8 hours because I like sleep. I feel rejuvenated. I try. But if some days you don't have to, like for instance, when we went out to the Carnegie Club for a networking event, didn't get home until 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, go to bed. I'm still up at 6.
Right.
Get up at 6 and get to fucking work.
Yep.
Okay, maybe you can't do 5 hours of sleep 8 days in a row. Well, you can do it for 2 days in a row if you really have to. And you get that extra 2 to 3 hours of work time. So
sometimes I'm up so early, I don't even realize like people aren't up. Like I'll text Justin at like 6:30 in the morning. I'll be like, yo, Just, blah, blah. I'm like, oh shit, it's 6:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Sorry.
I do it all the time. Oh, I do it at work and my employees get real pissed because I'm like, I'll hit them up with like Zoom messages and shit.
Well, like, this idea is in my head right now. I want to get it out before I forget. So let me
put it in. I'm the same way. Just get it out there, and that way it's out there. You don't forget, dude. 100%. I could talk to you guys for fucking ever.
Yeah. Let me take a picture of all of us.
Hold on, you got to get the dumpster in the background.
Yeah, hold on. There you go. Oh, Chris, that looks good. Both of you guys.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
We got to get a GIF. We got to get a GIF of Chris doing.
I'll post it.
Oh, certainly. Dude, I like how earlier he was just doing this.
Hold on. I'm going to take a boomerang of Chris right now of the guys just yelling in his ear. Hold on here.
I may do the same thing.
Because that is hilarious, actually. Hold on.
It is really fucking funny.
Ready? Hold on here.
Okay. Hold on.
Ready, Chris?
Yo, that's priceless.
Oh, that's
priceless.
Eric, I got your face in here too. It looks awesome.
The whole just that was worth the whole episode. That's
so good. It's so, and you know what's funny is like people are listening to this right now going, "What the fuck are they talking about?" I always think about that because I always think like, oh well, certainly everybody's watching this on YouTube, which they're not.
Yeah.
But then I realized how many people just listen to the podcast, which is, I mean, the majority of the audience that we have is all just the podcast because it's what we've done for 4 years. Yeah. So I think about it. I'm like, we always talk about these things that we can see visually represented. And I know people are going, what the fuck are they talking about? I'm like,
well, that's how I go. Well, if they really want to know, they'll check out the YouTube and then.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I always say. I'm like, you want to watch it, you want to see what the fuck we're doing, you got to watch it on YouTube, guys. Like you can't keep listening. But I get it. I mean, I'm obviously happy to have people listen on the podcast because that's what we started out doing. Anyway, guys, absolutely super fucking fun. I appreciate the conversation. You guys are very insightful too. I really like the back and forth in terms of like, I think there's both a realization from both sides of it. It's like all the things that we have to do, and you're doing it for the consumer, you're doing it for people's enjoyment. But like, it's rare that you get to talk to somebody who can empathize with the stuff that you have doing. Because even when you talk to people who are into cigars, like if it's somebody who owns a brand, it's like, well, they understand that piece of it, but they don't understand what you guys do every single day. Like we get what we have to do every single day. So it's refreshing to talk to somebody who like gets it, understands it, can empathize with it. That makes a very fun conversation. So had an absolute blast, guys. Thank you so much. Have a fucking fantastic evening. This will release this upcoming Monday. So everybody will see everybody's smiling faces. Yeah, I'll produce this bad boy quick and have it released on Monday. So appreciate you guys' time. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Chris and Corey, thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
See you guys.
Thank you very much.
Got it, fellas.
Salud.
See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.